BruCast is back, baby.
All right, hi everyone. Welcome back to another BruCast, episode number 13. If it's your first time watching the channel, make sure to like and 1 second, something's wrong. Okay, I think everything's fine now. So if it's your first time watching the channel, make sure to like and subscribe. We're trying to reach the 1,000 subscribers mark by the end of the year. We are getting there. We're getting there, guys. I promise you. But make sure to like and subscribe. This things really helps. That's why I bring it up in every single episode. So our guest today is none other than Dennis Bellmann. But before we bring Dennis in, I have some announcements. So the first announcement is about Brew Shorts. What is Brew Shorts? Now, BruCast has a few new channels. One here on YouTube, another one on Instagram, another on Twitter, which I think we call X now, and another one on TikTok. So Brew Shorts is a new type of... Okay, I have the script. Let me read the script. I think that's better. So Brew Shorts will feature carefully curated shorts showcasing the highlights and best moments from our podcast episodes. If you ever want a quick and entertaining way of recapping our discussions, Brew Shorts is the place to be. So I'm gonna put all the links on the description below. Make sure to follow all of our channels. It's amazing. We already produced, I don't know, I think around 30 shorts. We're trying to make a lot of shorts for every episode. It's really, really cool. Okay, so our next announcement is the BruCast store. So as you know, our store is packed with tons of awesome goodies, from t-shirts to stickers to mugs, all featuring designs that celebrate your love for the show. Whatever you're looking to treat yourself or to find the perfect gift for a friend or family member, we've got you covered. So I'm not sure you can see behind me, we have some brand new t-shirt designs that you can get right now on the website. This is just one of them. We have a lot of new ones. Check it out. And for you, my dear listeners who are listening to me right now, you can use the promo code BRU10SAVE. I repeat, BRU10SAVE on the website to get 10% discount. So the website's brew-cast.com/store. I repeat, brew-cast.com/store. So that was our announcements for today, and it's time to bring our guest in. How are you doing, Dennis? Welcome.
Yeah, Bruno, hi. How are you?
I'm fine, man. Thank you.
I'm
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm fine too. Thank you.
Thank you. It's so nice to have you on the podcast, man. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for having me. For the invitation to your show. I'm really excited about the next few minutes or hours. Let me introduce me a little bit. I'm Dennis. I'm a software engineer, or to be a little bit more specific, I'm a mobile application engineer right now. I live in Münster, Germany, for almost 6 years now. Let's start at the beginning a little bit. I studied computer science in Bielefeld. Then after my bachelor, I applied an internship at Gaming Mind Studios, where Bruno also works right now, I think. Yeah. Then I work after my internship. I started working there for 7 years, not 7 days. That's what be a little bit more less, a little bit less. But for almost 7 years, had a great time in the video industry because video game industry, because that was what I would like to do. From my heart, I would say. During my university time, I was always trying to achieve this one. But after this time in 2017, I decided to change it a little bit, and I also started developing Android applications in my spare time. And then I applied to Check24 as Android developer, and I'm now the deputy team lead of the app team in Münster for the hotel price comparison at Check24. Yeah, that's me.
That's amazing. That's quite a resume, Dennis, you know? It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I worked on it.
So 7 years in the gaming industry
Yeah.
before moving forward. So how many years are you working at Czech 24 now?
I think it's now a little bit more than 6 years now.
6 years, which means seven is coming up.
7 is coming up, yeah.
Any other big plans to changing industry?
You mean 7 years? That's my time to leave the company. No, I'm not thinking about it yet. I thought about, but yeah, things went very, very well for me now, and yeah, since I have now also a little bit responsible for team and for my colleagues, so I think I will stay there for a few more years, yeah, at least.
Yeah, from what you told me, it's a wonderful place to be.
Yeah, it's really cool right now.
Yeah, but going back to the game development, let's start from the
Yeah,
beginning. Going back to the
yeah.
game development industry, you started at Gaming Minds. That was your first job ever?
Yeah, that was right. I finished my bachelor in, I think when it was it in 2010, and after that I tried to be part of the video game industry. So that's the thing I thought about, and because as nearly everyone was playing a lot of video games since I was a young child, and then as I studied computer science, I want to be part of the industry, and so I come from Gütersloh, and Gütersloh is also yeah, they have a video game studio, what not every city has. And so I tried to apply for an internship. It worked out. And then, yeah, I started my career in the video game industry, and it was very, very, very intense and very cool time. Yeah, I like to think about a lot back in the days. Yeah.
What do you miss about the game industry?
Sorry?
What do you miss? Do you miss something from?
Miss,
Yeah, do you
miss.
miss something from the game industry?
Yeah, I think so. It's for me, it was always a good one working on a project for I think 1 or 2 years. Now it changes a little bit. So you have and also you have a game, and you have something to play with, and you have this computer magazines or video game magazines, and they rate you, and they will come for interviews, and you are on the Gamescom, you have this, I would say, this happenings, these events for being be given for your game, and I think that's one thing I miss. Yeah. So
Yeah.
having this, you have they decide, okay, you create this game, for example, this strategic game, and then you are on it for at least 1 or 2 years, and then you have this big release, and then everything fell off from you a little bit, and then you're going, okay, now it's the next game, and you can start fresh, and say, okay, now it's a new topic, and you're really hyped again. And I think that feeling of releasing a really big thing, I missed it a little bit, since we now releasing every week. So one update is released every week. We maintain the application every week, and this big things after 1 or 2 years, this big happening, I think that's a thing I miss. But and also we try to have the same somehow, but it's different. Yeah.
I get what you mean, but I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes it gets repetitive. 2 years playing the same game every day,
Yeah.
every single day.
Yeah, sure. But for me as developer and as also as UI developer, you see the progress of the game. When you make early screenshots, for example, of your game in the first half year, and you make screenshots after 1 or 2 years, you see a complete different game. And it's more and more, it gets more and more complete, and that's what I liked in the progress being in the game industry. So you start from very less playable things. And in the end, you say let's say after a few months, you really get it and say, oh, it's becoming playable. I can now play it. And I think this is one milestone for me always when it started to get playable. And also the second one, I think it's the second milestone would be, okay, when it's presented to the public. So then it must be a little bit more playable, or you have you get out some version which you will show the audience for the first time, and how will be the reactions. This would be the second milestone for me, I would say. And then you have this nearly completion, and then it gets the crunch time begins, where you try to really finish and clean up the thing and make it round, and also get the balancing a little bit better. The cutscenes will come in, and it's picked together, and that's, I think, this third milestone. And the fourth would be the release with all its video game magazines and websites rating your game, and seeing on Steam how the comments are. And this is the fourth one, and then you continue with the first and start all new on a new game.
Yeah. Over time, you can see all the pieces moving together.
Yeah.
And
And I like this very much.
Okay, yeah, me too. It's like a roller coaster of emotions and anticipation. Yeah. So right now, you just mentioned to us that you're releasing updates every week.
Yes.
That's also pretty intense, right?
I think so, yeah. For me, it is. I think some people think, okay, I can, because, I will explain it a little bit more. What it means to release every week, and also what it means for applications. And so if you, for example, releasing every week would be normal. It would be fine. You have a feature, you finish it, and you will build a version and you will release it. Also with bug fixes, you make a bug fix, you will finish it, and you will release it. But the downside, and that's not the downside of releasing every week, but that's one thing, I think, compared to application and website, for example. If you make a mistake in one feature, in one release, so in 1 week there is not much time for testing, for example. But this means the feature is not developed in 1 week, so it could be it can take more time. It can even take months for developing a feature, and then it is in one release. But when it's released, I think it's really the pressure is high, because you cannot say how much people will update to this version, or how if you have a bug which is crashing your app, and you have it already released. If you release a new version where the bug fix is in, you cannot really say, okay, now everything is fine. No, it's not fine. I think even it takes 2 weeks now to have that many people have to apply it to that new version you just released, and then they have an application 2 weeks, which is not really good working, because you released earlier a bug. I think it's normally to software, but it's a little bit. It's for us. It's a difference between website, where you click F5 and the bug fix is applied to everyone, and for us it's you're releasing a version, and the bug is so long present as the last person updates. Now you understand?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the difference. It's not between application 1 week release and the video game industry, where you also have bugs, and when you release, I think every month or every 2 months a patch for your version. Yeah, it's there, but it's a little bit different from the industry perspective side. When you have some kind of when you have finished your video game, the people bought it, and then you have the money from them. That sounds not that kind, but yeah, they bought your version, and you try to be or you try the best to deliver the best experience for them, even with further patches or even more content. You try to please them a little bit and thank them for spending money on your product. And for us now at Check24, for example, the application is free. And so that's the difference. We can only make money if the application is working 100% correct. And if it's not working correct, they will leave and they will spend or will not book your hotels, for example. And that's the difference. And what's the pressure kindy thing, and which might be the reason why we should release very often to be as good as possible, or to fix bugs as soon as possible, for example.
Of course. How many people would you say update the app as soon as the update's released?
Yeah, it's not only on the people. Sometimes it's also it has something to do with the operating system. I think Apple and Android, or iOS and Android, are delivering their updates a little bit different. But I think for us, the majority of the people have the new version after 1 or 2 weeks.
1 or 2 weeks, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mostly they, I think if you have nothing installed, especially when you charge your phone in the background overnight, and it will fetch some updates.
Yeah. I have this on the iPhone. I just plug it in on the power outlet for the night, and it updates. So I don't even think about it.
Yeah, that's the normal cycle. But then you have, I don't know, some people turn this off because they are, I don't know why they turn this off, but there are people which are coming, and so we see crashes with versions that are 8 to 15 weeks old. So not everyone is doing that.
I'm gonna tell you why some people turn it off. I'm not sure if you've seen it. Twitter just changed their logo from the bird to the new X letter. Some people are selling their smartphones on eBay with the bird, the old logo, for, I don't know, $6,000 or something, because it's like a premium thing now. No one has the bird logo. So I know a lot of people like that. For example, I also have a friend. He used to have this Maps app. So he used to go travel anywhere in the world. I think it's just called Maps, the thing. And you could just download the maps of a region. And that was it. It was the best thing in the world. He could use those maps offline. They didn't require any data. And one day, out of nowhere, after years working like that, they just updated automatically their app. And it's now a subscription service.
Oh.
And in order to download the maps offline, you need to pay for it. So I can understand why some people don't like the automatic update.
But that's special cases, I would say. And also Google Maps, I think it also has this for free downloading some regions. So I had this also earlier when you had this, but this is, I think, 10 years ago or so, when Google Maps was not what it is today. You have this really navigation applications, which I don't need anymore now. I just use Google Maps or Apple Maps, something like this. And I think they have built in all the features right now, which, But it's the internet is weird. So spending $6,000 on a phone with the old icon on it, I think it's possible when you have the install file to replace it manually, and you will have it on your phone still with the old logo when you hack something together. But people are crazy, maybe too rich. I don't know why someone would do that.
People used to do the same. Do you remember Flappy Bird?
Yeah, I remembered the same. Yeah, I would say, when it was banned from the store. So what was it? Why was it vanished?
If I remember correctly, the creator just got...
Oh, yes.
He got overwhelmed with the popularity of the app, and he was like, this app is destroying my life. it's the worst thing that happened to me. I need to delete it from the world. People are addicted to it. Like he felt guilty for its success, and he just took it down. And then it became like this desired the game. You know, everyone wanted, and
Sure. I knew. Now I remember it correctly. Yeah, it was. Yeah, he said it was too much pressure, and people are writing to me and complaining about the game, or even too much publicity for a shy programmer, I would say. But yeah, I think it was the same with spending so much time. But also on this time, I could not understand it because the application was downloadable on the website or on the internet, so you could get it.
Flappy Bird.
Yeah, and install it on your phone. It's just so like sideload. It's called. You go on the website, just download the installation application, and then you could install it. For Android, I don't know how it was for iOS. Maybe there is nothing like that.
And
I'm not sure.
And there's so many copycats. You can play any other game.
Yeah.
There's thousands of Flappy Birds on the store. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
So check 24. It's the biggest vergleichsportal, the biggest comparing website in Germany, right?
Yeah, it's the biggest Vergleichsportal.
Vergleichsportal.
Strange word, but it's the biggest one in Germany. Yeah.
I noticed. So it's been 7 years again. This number is back. 7 years that I'm in Germany, and I noticed that's a huge thing here in Germany. People love to compare prices. I think it's a cultural thing, right?
Yeah, I think so too. So I was also when I was in on a conference in the US. I was also I was there for my company, for example, and they also asked me, okay, what are you doing at Check24? And even the name Check24, they just say, okay, why don't you have a normal name? What's the 24 in it? And something like this. But this also was, I think, a German thing from the big time of the internet, so the late 90s, early 2000s, where you have to extend it to get the URL, I think. Check was already taken, so what do you say? What do you use? For example, 24. We have a few more companies which use that kind of 24 to show, okay, we have always opened. Our service is always available. This was a big thing in Germany. In the US, 24/7 shops are not that less, so they also knew the concept, and you don't have to put a 24 on it. But I think it's mainly on the German side. We also now start to create a comparison. So we copied something, or I would say copy. We forked something. It's a little more technical term, but we also now present in Spain and started in Austria, I think last year. And but only with a few comparisons, which I think the ones which would work internationally, for example, like our comparison hotel, where I work. The hotel price comparison works, I think, all over the world. And also, if you see, you have something going on with, so for example, Booking.com and HRS, they are not comparing prices, but they sell hotel rooms online, and we have them all in our application to compare it, which might be a little bit more German thing, to compare prices. I don't know, but finding the best price isn't that important for you, Bruno, as if that you are not from Germany. Would you use it if it were present in Brazil or in France, for example?
I use Check24.
You use Check24.
I use it. So, but I didn't know. So I lived in France, Brazil, and it's not as a cultural thing. Like people don't always look for the best prices. Some people do, but it's not as mainstream here, which is good.
Yeah.
People are always looking for the best price. But when I arrived to Germany, it's like, oh, but you can use the vergleichsportal. I was like, what is this? Like, people are very, very conscious about it, and I think it's good. It's good. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Or is it too complicated in Germany? So if you have something like electricity or gas or insurances or credits, is it more complicated in Germany to have those things that you say, okay, I don't have an overview. It's so complicated for me, but I want to have it. And there comes this comparison where you can not only compare prices, you also can compare attributes of your contracts, for example. It helps you on that side also.
I'm gonna be honest. So
Yeah.
I don't know, because the first time when I moved to Germany was the first time that I got a job, the first time that I rented a house,
Yeah.
the first time that I looked for electricity company. So I kind of became an adult in Germany. So I don't know how those things work in other countries. Yeah. So Dennis, I have a question. So you work in the hotel division. Is Airbnb considered your enemy, or like are they even considered a hotel chain or website or something like that? Because the Airbnb is not a hotel, right? It's something.
Yeah, it's I would say rental homes, for example.
Yeah.
We also have a price comparison for rental homes in our company.
Okay. You guys have everything.
Yeah, I think it was invented 3 or 4 years ago. We had to maintain this thing. It was not developed by us, but we had to maintain it. It was under our company from hotel, but it went larger and larger, and it becomes its own, I would say, company or vertical. But as we say, it's its own product. And it got its own team since I think during Corona the people are more used to use homes, for example, where they have their own flat, for example, and not share things like they want to make their own breakfast, or they want to cook something, and that's mostly not possible in hotels where you have the breakfast together in a large room, and some people like to be more private, I would say. Or it increased a little bit, and there was also a market beside from Airbnb in Germany. I think Fevo Online or something like this. It's called like Ferienwohnung. It was also present in Germany. I think a long time ago, my parents and we also booked Ferienwohnung, a rental home, when I was a child. But since Airbnb, it moved a little bit more into the urban areas. Normally, it was for the vacation areas, but now it's I would say a concurrent. It's living beside the hotel thing. Yeah. In cities, but it's existing, but the one I think who will use Airbnb are using this on purpose, and for us it's hard to get these people because Airbnb works a little bit more different. I think it's more hip or something like this than booking something on Check24. But we're working on delivering also a very good experience for booking rental homes in our application as well. Yeah.
You know what? It is even more hippie than Airbnb. Have you heard about home exchange?
No.
So
I know what it means now by the name, but I don't know that there was an application for that.
I think it's called home exchange.
Yeah.
So I have a friend of mine. She has, I think, 2 houses. She can afford, so she has those 2 houses, and one of them is the home exchange house, which means that she listed her house in the app, and people can go there and kind of rent it, quote unquote, rent it. You have points that you can use, or you can use real money. Whenever someone goes to her house and she gets points, and then she can use those points in other people's houses around the world.
Okay.
It's a very interesting concept, but you need to have at least 2 houses.
Yeah. If you want to share your privacy so much, I think 2 houses would be good. But I think that there are also people which may share their main house or their only house with others. If you like to do that, yeah.
Yeah.
So might be a cheap way of having a great time during vacation or moving somewhere. I think a few months if someone want to visit, for example, Münster or Germany for a few months. And I would also say, oh, this in the US, I would like to visit Florida, for example, for 1 or 2 months. I think it's a good thing since you're paying rent and you're or owning the house and it's completely empty. So why not?
Yeah.
I think you have to have some rules. So don't use my clothes or something like this. But beside that one, I think it could work out for some people which want to like to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So you would not use that one for sharing your flat with someone, exchanging it.
Right now, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future, but right now,
Yeah. No, it was just me either. I also would not do that.
yeah, it's weird. I don't know. So, yeah. So, before we started, we were talking a little bit, like we were chatting, and you told me that although you work with Android, you're using a Mac. And you told me, no, that's the story for the podcast.
Yeah.
So what's the story about?
Yeah, it's no big story, but I
Okay,
think but I can tell you a little bit about it. So it will become a story maybe. No. So when I worked at Gaming Minds, I start at the beginning. When I worked at Gaming Minds or in the video game industry, we always use Windows.
Yeah.
Yeah, since we use Visual Studio, I think it's also working out on Mac, but games are, I think, a little bit more connected to Windows, and we also use Windows for developing. Yeah, and when I was at the applyment, is it the word? The apply, so for the job, I want to apply to the job for Check 24, and I was on this day where you show what you can and present yourself. I need to do my thing on a Mac. So they say, okay, now do a little exercise. Here's your Mac, and you can do everything. And show us your skills. And I was so lost because everything felt a little bit different. And I was also saying, oh, now when I work here, I must have a Windows laptop, for example. So we always working on laptops right now. So I have just this MacBook here. But after a few, I think weeks or months, I feel very comfortable with Mac. And started to like it since what it has. It's not depending if you're using iOS or Android. You can it's possible to develop on that machine since you are building a mobile application. It's working fine, and it's even, I would say, nearly better integrated into iOS. Or macOS, I would say, to the Mac. So the Android Studio is more integrated to that one since on Windows, I would say, a little bit. And everyone is using that. I was not aware of this, but when I was on a conference, every Android developer even is using a MacBook since it has very good hardware, in my opinion, and even more since they have their own chip now, the M1 chip, or M2 right now, compiling becomes so much faster, and this is a huge improvement for us and everyone at the company who does mobile development uses a MacBook. That's coming from the company. It's a rule, I would say, and that works out pretty well. Even though if you have problems, you can just ask your colleague. That no one has a different operating system. You can do this, have the same settings, and since the hardware is quite fine, and you're getting to know the system, you also have some kind of terminal, and it's more. So if I explain more, it's more into the developer thing. You have this package manager, which is easily applicable from the terminal and the command line and everything. So for me, it's a perfect solution to develop mobile applications. But it's also, if you don't have the money to afford it, it's also working out on Windows if you are developing Android. So, and also iOS development is mainly if you don't hack anything, it's only possible on MacBooks or on Apple machines. Yeah.
Now that you use a Mac and you got used to it, would you go back to Windows if you had the chance?
At my home, I have one Windows computer left. I was also thinking about, okay, maybe I can change this back to was it Mac Mini, to a Mac Mini, for example. I'm thinking about completely dismissing Windows, but I think for gaming, it's Windows it's better, or it's more compatible. No, it has the compatibility is much better on Windows machines, since the games have been specially compiled for running on Mac OS. Since now they're working on something. I saw recent videos where I think the next after the next one operating system update will have this game application center, something like this, and it will somehow emulate the DirectX stuff for rendering games or for making games playable on Macs. I'm pretty excited about this. Looks quite well to have your normal M1 machine, which is even not the same architecture. It's an ARM architecture, not an x64. But it looks quite promising. So Apple is doing something on that side, getting the gamer on their platform or on their machines. Yeah.
Yeah. I switched. I had also big Windows PC.
Mm-hmm.
And then Apple announced this M1 Mac Mini, and they were like just showing the charts and how faster it would be, and how smaller it is. It was like, I'm gonna give this a try. And then I got the Mac Mini M1. That's the one I'm using right now. It was life changing. I was like, okay, I cannot game anymore, but I can game on my PlayStation. So
yeah,
so
sure.
I just so that's what I'm doing right now. I have the Mac computer, and whenever I want to game, I just game on the PlayStation, and I think it's working fine for me. I don't miss the Windows. When I need to use like something very specific for Windows, I have it at work, and that's it.
Yeah, that's also an option. Yeah, same for me. When I like to play video games, I do this also on consoles or on my PlayStation. And yeah, back in the days, we was used to have one Windows as machine as backup, I would say. Like you can do it at work. I can do it here at home at my backup PC, since I do the most things. Yeah, not the private ones. So when I do something for taxes or something like that, I don't want to do on my business machine. I mostly do on my private machine. But yeah, I think I can also replace it. And for us, it was the same. It was game changing when the M1 came. It cuts our compile times at least in half. And this was very good. Yeah.
You know what I want, but I don't need. This is this Mac Studio. Have you seen it?
No.
So it's basically, it looks like the Mac Mini, but it's like 2 times taller. And I think has the M2 Pro Max, like some fancy chip inside.
Yeah.
And supposedly like 100% faster. I don't know how much faster it is, but
Yeah.
I cannot buy it, right?
Yeah, I think it's too expensive. Yeah. And that's also, I think, max out your Apple machines is so expensive. So you can buy the, I would say, stock or a little bit better ones.
Yeah.
But when you max it out, it reaches 6,000 euros, something like this.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But you nearly get the same power when you buy a cheaper one. It's just extending the RAM, extending the HDD, HDD or SSD for now. Yeah. Yeah.
Dennis, yesterday, when I was like just preparing for the podcast and organizing the stuff, I found out your SoundCloud.
Oh yes.
Yeah, yes. Or so
It's-
yeah.
It's a blast from the past, I would say. Yeah.
Really? I saw like I was just going through your songs, like you're called DJMilch, right? And it's really good, man.
Thank you. You listen to it,
Yeah, of course.
or you scroll through it?
No, I listened. Like I spent like half an hour listening to it.
Yeah. Nice.
Hazelnuss und
Hazelnut. Yeah.
Hazelnut and when I don't remember the other one.
The other one was vanilla. It was the start one.
Vanilla, yeah.
Yeah. It also, I think, it reaches back to my school time. I was a DJ. I called myself always DJMilch, and it's a story about the name. Everyone was asking it. It's not that interesting, but I was on a show and there was a DJ, and I misheard his name. And he was called DJ Wick, but I understand DJ Milch, and I was asking myself, what a stupid name. And then I dismissed it, and then it came up when we started to play Half-Life in network. So I think early 2000 we worked LAN parties and we played Half-Life, and you have to choose a name for yourself. And there was that thing when you were bad in the game, you just changed the name, and then you think you changed your name, and then it will get better. So your aiming is not that good. You throw curse words at yourself, something like this, and then you change your name, and then it will get better. And the first change I made was I choose Maverick as name from Top Gun.
It was not taken? Not taken?
No, it was just in local network. With friends. Yeah, it was not taken, and it's not the thing you have to. It must not be unique. Only unique on the server with 8 people, I would say. But yeah, it was not taken. So Maverick was mine, and then when I was bad and unlucky, I changed to DJ Milch, and then things went better. And I used the name for the whole night. And then, before my music career, I would say I stick to that name somehow, made an email with that. And then afterwards, I was not, that was not really related. Since I used DJ Milch, I wanted not to be a DJ in that moment. It came to my mind, stupid name, which I heard maybe weeks ago, and I was, oh no, that stupid name, and I typed it on. But then I really started to being a DJ. A friend of mine does this a little bit more professional, but not in that way that you are doing that on clubs or something. We were way too young. It was in the age of 16, I would say, during school. And during school, you have to do some parties for your schoolmates, of course. And you're always, someone has to do the music. And me was that person who does the music, and then I gave me that name, DJMilch. And also we had some public parties where we try to collect some money by doing that party for our end of school celebration. And we collected them and tried to organize some parties. And there I played some music with also my friend, which does this a little bit more professional than me. But then, DJMilch was born, I would say. And it is tied to me till now. And to SoundCloud after a few, or not a few years. I did it 6 or 5 years ago, or something like this. I like music very much, the electronic one, as you could hear. I tried a lot of things, and so I was trying to mix music for SoundCloud. But it went out very well. I like this, the Hazelnut I like more than the vanilla. But for me, it was quite, I did it just for fun. So it was also a live set, which I just played in my living room. And that's, I would say, the story about these 2 songs on SoundCloud. I did it, I wanted to do more. I want to expand this a little bit, but also then I moved to Münster, I applied the new job, and there was more time on doing other things, and then I lost the focus a little bit, and still now it remains these 2. But I think it's when you do this kind of things, you have to practice. It's when you mix music, it's now it might be easy, just clicking a few buttons and it will mix it automatically into another. But if you like to improve and if you like to get better, you have to practice. And due to my lack of time, only these 2 songs live until now. But from time to time, I hear them too and think about good old times. Yeah.
You're good at it. I can
Thank
say
you very
that.
much.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was just start listening and stay in the background while I was doing my stuff, and really good.
Yeah. I'm really proud of Hazelnut because I thought something about it. It was during the first season of Stranger Things, and I used this song from them to open up the set. I played it a little bit faster, and then I mixed the first song I really play on it, and it worked out very well. And I'm a little bit proud of it when I hear the beginning, because I like the music of Stranger Things very, very much. And putting them together into the mix, for me, it was a great opening. And
So you did not create the songs themselves.
No.
Okay.
It's just mixing. So
Just mixing. Okay.
yeah, it's just mixing, and the selection. I think that's what the DJs mostly do, or what I think DJing is the most important. When you just, for example, now you play on a club, it's they create their own music, but they also play things from other DJs, or music from other DJs. And I think the selection, having a good set which feels kind of pleasing to you when you hear it, and which would like maybe tells a story or helps you in the same mood, I would say song selection is very important. And I tried this once, that worked out. And but for me, since I now tell it, it's too much time consuming for me to do more of them.
Sorry, go ahead.
Since you need to listen to a lot of music, write it down, and curate it somehow, and
How long it took you to create Hazelnut?
I think this did not take long, since
So what are you talking about? Doesn't
no. Yeah,
just do it.
creating does not take much time,
Okay,
but
okay.
finding the selection, I think I started, you start the list and say, okay, this song fits perfect, this song fits perfect. And then you stumble on over the songs and say, okay, this would also fit, this would also fit. And then you listen to it again, and but I don't take this in processing time. I would
Okay.
say it's just, and if you are used to it, if you are in the game, it will take less time. But you need to start and get into the game. I would say if you are onto it, it will be no problem. But for me, starting it's always time consuming. Yeah.
Do you have a table? A mixing table?
No, I did this digitally. Yeah,
Okay,
I have this. I have a small mixer here, but yeah, you can. It's just a controller. You have the software on your MacBook, for example, and you put it on USB, and then you have this control things, and this is connected to the software. It's like a game controller. You click on one button and it does something in the game, and this is, you click on one button and it does something in the music player, and you can assign it. You can assign it to your personal preferences, and then you can start mixing with it. Yeah.
Man, that's so interesting. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So everyone, go right now to SoundCloud and subscribe to DJMilch.
Yeah, even listening to the song. So subscribing, I'm not fishing for subscribers right now, but yeah, just yeah, take a look, and maybe you have, I think it's 1 hour. Maybe you have a great hour hearing it. Yeah.
It's worth it. And I know there are different styles, right? I know there's, I don't know, reggaeton, there's techno. How the style from Hazelnut would be called, so I can like look for more of it.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I would say deep house.
Deep house, okay. Okay. All right.
Deep house, electronic music could be, but I would say deep house or minimal is it not? I think deep house will fit.
Deep house, okay. Do you have any artists that you like really got inspiration from and admire?
I don't. I'm not into that artists, I would say. So I was thinking about, since I saw your subscription on my SoundCloud, because I knew maybe such kind of question will come. And I think this kind of music is not mainly focused, for me, it's not focused on the artist, it's focused on more on tracks. One artist can have a really good track, and I like it very much, and it's but then other songs can come and I don't like so much. So if I'm following just this artist, or if I would not follow him, since he has only one song what I would like, I would miss something. And yeah, I think from the German ones, I think, yeah, there is Nikone in this mix, I think, and Sascha Bremer, which you can just go on Spotify and look them up. I'm not sure if do I placed a playlist in the description of this song. Maybe then you can go from there and look up a few artists, and maybe you like the music you hear.
I'm gonna do that. That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's amazing, Dennis. Man, I want to ask you something else. So I remember back when we worked together, you were a Star Trek fan. If I'm not mistaken, this is called Trekkie. There we go. And that's the original trilogy, right?
Yeah.
So for those who are listening, then he's just happily drinking from his Star Trek mug.
Yeah, I showed my Star Trek mug. Yes. I think I'm more into Star Trek than ever, I would say.
Ever?
Yeah.
That's a huge statement.
Yeah. Because, but it's not that I'm, what I would say. I think I rewatched now several series. I'm on the rewatch now at the Next Generation. So one rewatch of one series. I watched all nearly all of Star Trek. But from time to time, or even in the evenings, when I like to be in a good mood, what calms me down are the old episodes. So, for example, the original series, as I showed you, the mug from the original series. Now I'm the what's coming next was the next generation. I'm now on the rewatch on that. And I also do this with a podcast from Germany. It's Trek am Dienstag. What really brings me into the podcast world. They review every episode in the order of appearance on TV or in the cinema for the films. And I think it's every episode take 1 to 2 hours for discussion. And these two guys make a really, really good job. Showing you details, telling you stories about creating Star Trek, and this what's really excited me about this. Yeah,
Trek am Dienstag.
Trek am Dienstag.
Trek
Yeah,
am Dienstag. Oh wow! So they break down each episode. Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. They start to retelling it, and then they point out something from the creation process, some rumors from the stars. They bring on their own opinion, and I like it very much, and it's very interesting. And they try this, so they have this huge podcast. I would say project. They doing a show every Dienstag since the name is from Trek am Dienstag. So they present a show every week.
Which means Tuesday in German, right?
Tuesday, sorry,
Okay.
every Tuesday they present an episode, and they started from the original series. And as you can imagine, I think down of the time, I think the first season will have 28 episodes, for example. So it takes you 28 weeks for one season. But there is 3 seasons of the original series. There is 2 seasons of the comic, it's called TAS, the animated series. It was created in the 70s.
There's an animated series?
There's an animated series of Star Trek from the 70s.
Wow.
Yeah. And then they continue with
I know it. I know. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, they continue with the next generation, and it has, I think, 8 seasons or 7 seasons in 20 episodes each. And when you count everything together, they have a project. They started it, I think, 2017, and it will end in 2034, something like this. And they do this every week, and they did not miss a week yet.
That's a project.
That's a project.
That's a project. How old are the guys in this podcast?
I think they are a little bit older than me, so beginning of 40.
Okay.
So they did not see the old one, so the original series when it was. Oh, but maybe they watched. I think they started both with the next generation, the one with Picard and Data. Yeah.
Which one is your? I don't know how it's called, season or generation. Like
you can call it generation or just series. Yeah.
Which one is your favorite series?
I think the first one, the original
First one,
series.
yeah.
But because that kind or this season or this series really reminds me of my childhood when I was sitting with my grandpa in the living room, cozy and small. 6-year-old Dennis or something like this was sitting next to his grandfather and watching this science fiction series, and this is really a warm memory for me when I think about. I got nearly goosebumps. So it's a really warm feeling which comes out when I watch these old ones. Yeah, and also when I'm down or when I'm totally stressed or sad, then maybe these things or lonely, these things bring me up every time.
Yeah, makes totally sense. I can totally relate to that and understand it. Um, I think we all have some kind of like game or series that bring us back to our childhood. Like in my case, I used to play Zelda with my grandfather a lot,
Yeah.
and that's what it is for me. So, but going back to Star Trek,
Hmm.
the first generation is also my favorite one. I watched the first generation. I tried to watch the, I think it's called Next Generation,
Next Generation, yeah.
a couple of movies. Now that you mentioned the cartoon series, I also remember watching that, but nothing was as interesting to me as the first generation. I don't know why, because the costumes are not great, the scenarios are not great, the effects are not great, but there's something to it.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but it works. It works so
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, for me the same. So I think only from the feelings, the first one for me it's the most connected one or
Yeah.
most loved one. Um, but I think when you look to quality or storytelling, then the next generation is better.
Do you think it's
Uh,
better? Okay.
I think so. I think so. So the my most loved episode is coming from the next generation, and it really blew my mind when I saw it. Yeah. Um, you wanted to hear some plot of it?
Of course, yeah.
It's called The Inner Light, and it's Picard. I try to remember everything, or not everything, but that it's understandable. Um, Picard is on the bridge, and some space, how is it called? Some satellite is coming through them and shooting at them, and he fell asleep, or he fell into some coma. It's the same in English. I don't know. He fell in a deep sleep, I would say. And then he wakes. He thinks he wakes up, but he's already dreaming. And then you see that in his deep sleep, he lives a whole life. He's so when you dream, for example, you have it like, okay, it's the time takes it different. So time is different, like you have in Inception. It slows down and you have more time. So if you sleep, you can also live a whole day or something like this, but it was only 1 hour. But for him, it's I think he sleeps, I would say, a few hours, but he lives a whole life in this, and gets older, and this kind of, and then he wakes up. He thought that he must die, and he is on this. So he's in his dream. He's on a planet, and he has a wife, and he but he can't remember her. He always talks about his enterprise, and first in his first years on this in this dream on this planet, he's trying to come back to the enterprise, but somehow, and somewhere when you just try and do not reach your goal, you say, okay, maybe I must change. And I would his wife is also complaining, well, please come to me and don't forget the enterprise. It was just a dream for you, because time on the enterprise after a few years is less than he is living in the dream. And then he goes on and has child and lives a completely whole life, which is completely different from what he does in real life. And he gets older and has children. They rise up, and but on the planet there's a problem of I think pollution, or they have not much water, and it's getting warmer and warmer, and they have no they somehow die out. Maybe something that would also happening on our planet, but but then he gets older and older, and before he nearly dies, he wakes up. And the reason why it was in his dream is just the culture sent this satellite to someone to relive their life and to tell stories from them, because they have no when they die out, nobody could remember, because nobody can go and tell from them. So they picked all their memories and something on this satellite and tried to reach someone to inject it in their brain, to relive it, and then to retell it, that their culture is not dying out, to tell the story to others. And yeah, I think you have to watch it. It's better than my explanation, but hopefully you get the point.
I do. I understood everything. It sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
So, the inner light.
The inner light, yeah, and
Okay.
everything is packed into 45 minutes. It's so it works out for me.
It sounds like that Star Trek was the original Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I think Rick and Morty is also inspired from Star Trek. Yeah,
Yeah. Rick and Morty is like a mashup of Back to the Future, because
Back
they
to
have
the
the
Future.
Grandpa and Morty, which is like
Yeah.
Marty McFly, and then all those crazy interplanetary adventures from Star Trek with a lot of cursing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check it out. You know, it sounds interesting. So this is from Next Generation, right?
This from Next Generation. Yeah.
Do you think something that also sounds very interesting, that sounds appealing, is that what if we all live in some kind of dream, and when we die, wake up in our real life? I think Inception also talks about that. Yeah, do you remember the wife from Leonardo
Yeah.
DiCaprio, Inception?
Yeah.
That's where her like, she was delusional. She in her mind, she was in a dream, and she had to die in order to.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this episode.
Yeah. Also, yeah, it's related to that. I think I'm not sure if Star Trek or this episode was the first one who tried to play with this. I think there must be something back in the past. So, for example, I also how is it called? I bought the box of Twilight Zone, which is a very old series, which has built up so much science fiction and fantasy tropes and stories. I just scratching the surface on this, since I just watched a few episodes, but could be that we are not living. I think we are not living, but thinking about it is quite interesting. Yeah. Also, the Matrix thing, is there something? It's just a simulation. You can say it's dreaming, you can say it's simulation. I think in the Inner Light it was kind of both. He was dreaming, but it's also was kind of simulation, which was into his brain to simulate their culture. It's I think it's not true, but it's interesting and very cool to think about it. Yeah, and what you can do, for example. Or Truman Show, it's also something playing with this. Someone is living not in the reality. I think this one, yeah, or what he sees is not the reality.
So you think we are not in a simulation?
I don't think so.
Why
But-
not?
Why not?
Got you.
Yeah, why not? Maybe because of science. I think it works out too well. When we doing something, and for example, finding a new particle in some kind of physical way, it works out so well. So years ago, there is predicted that there is some particle of this size, there must be there, but we cannot prove it yet. And 30 years after, it's proved. I don't think that is kind of the simulation. I think that must be real, because it's kind of our universe. And you can prove it somehow. If it would be a simulation, I think it would lack some. You don't have this kind of. It's built of. Yeah, everything. Everything is built of the same materials. And I think in a simulation, it would behave a little bit different. I cannot explain it in more detail, because then I have to think about a little bit more, and it would be very quiet here. But that's in this direction, I think that is not true.
But wouldn't you say that science is mathematic?
It is.
And what is a simulation if not
Yeah.
mathematics?
Yeah, you're true, but I think so. Would you fill up if you have a simulation, and would you care for? You just have to simulate things. How do you fill the space in between? Is there nothing, or is there something? So if I would create a simulation, for example, it's like creating a video game. I would not compute those things which are not visible. And I would not try to invent things which are not visible to the people, because there could be nothing. There might be just nothing and everything is okay. But in our world, there's not nothing in between. So it contains of something. So, and you can split it into parts, like oxygen. You can split it into parts and can see it belongs to that and that and that. And in a simulation, I would say it could be nothing, because we are all just simulated. We can breathe, but it must be no oxygen which works out in this universal thing. So we can now see, okay, it's coming from there, and it's coming from that reaction, it's coming from that reaction. But if I would do some kind of simulation, I would not. Someone has to create the simulation, and the creator, the great creator, would say, okay, I can also create them a little bit more or less caring about this stuff, and that's why I think that we are not in that simulation.
Are you familiar with this quantum experiment that depending on the observer, the result is different? I think I don't remember the details, but it's like the scientists they project two particles, and when there's an observer, the two particles are there. When there's no observer, there's only one particle, no particle at all. So basically, the universe changes because everything is made of particle. We know for a fact that the universe changes depending if there's people looking at something or not.
Yeah, that's something that also blew my mind. So even I think so my horizon ends when it comes to quantum physics. I like to be in that kind of thing, or think I need to investigate a little bit more and learn more to understand it. I don't get it right now. But it's when you think about it, okay, there's an observer, and then it's completely different results than when it's no observing, and that is not really understandable for me right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, but it's like it is. Yeah.
And at the same time, I think no one understands it, Dennis. It's to be honest.
I think there are some people which understand this, but I think they spend their life on those things, so it's fair.
And at the same time, that they're creating quantum computers, which for me it's nuts. Like we were talking about M1, M2 earlier. Like imagine having a quantum computer. That must be insane. Yeah. Are you a religious person at all? No. No religion. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No. I have my no. I would say not.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I'm just asking because you're talking about like simulation and stuff. I recently discovered this book called The Kabbalion. Have you heard about it?
No. I think I have heard about it, but only the name.
The name.
Yeah.
I'm not a religious person either, but I recently found this book, and for the first time, I would say that I don't think it's a religion, but it's more about like philosophy and spirituality.
Yeah.
And I think it makes a lot of sense in a couple of things. I'm gonna read 1 second. I think it's very interesting. So, the Kabbalion is a study of the Hermetic philosophy of ancient Egypt and Greece. So the book was originally published in 1908. So 1908. So a long time ago. And let's see. So it teaches 7 principles, and they say that those 7 principles rule the whole existence of reality. And I think they all kind of make sense. Okay, maybe not all of them. The first one is the principle of mentalism, that the all is mind. So the universe is like a mental creation. So I'm not sure about this one. Let's see. So I think a couple of them makes a lot of sense. For example, the principle of vibration, that everything is vibration, nothing rests, everything moves. And we say that particles vibrate. So they knew that like hundreds of years ago. So another one's like the principle of polarity. Everything's dual. Everything has poles. There's female and male, day and night. So it's the yin yang, right? Everything is
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So the principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Okay, I'm probably reading that wrong, but there's some source of truth to it. You know what I mean?
think so. Yeah. Of course.
It's
But it's
cool.
also when you have this kind of how is it called? The principle of power. You cannot get, yeah, it cannot go away. It's somewhere, but it's not when you give some, or as a rule of energy, the energy is not vanishing. It could not be. It could not be. Yeah, vanish. Somehow it's in a different state, but it's not vanishing. Yeah, and that's I think that's yeah physics, and for me, so that's not a little bit spiritual, but only I think the words may be spiritual, but under the hood, it's science
Maybe.
somehow, like the moving particles. You can explain, but and then you think, okay, it is true, but I also think about this. You can think about this energy thing. For example, you can think in a more philosophy way. How is it called?
Philosophical way.
Yeah. When we say, okay, I spend energy on a project and it must work out. So for example, something like this, because the energy could not vanish somehow. So or some like forcing your luck, for example. So this one's when you try a lot of things, you can also say, okay, it's mathematical. When you flip a coin 10 times, there must be head on at least a few, five or something like this. But for me, it's the energy forcing the luck. I think you can go in that direction somehow. It helps to maybe to motivate you for your daily work.
Yeah, whatever works for you, right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people they try to make it spiritual when they don't
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
If you look in the past, people used to think like the thunder, the god of thunder, like the thunder was a god, like the rain was a god. Everything was
Yeah.
very spiritual, and the more
Yeah.
people understood the science and they understood more like the science behind it, they start realize not everything is spiritual and everything not everything. I'm asking about spirituality to start a Star Trek fan. I'm dumb.
No, there's a lot of spirituality, I think. So not also religious things. It's also in Star Trek. That's what
Is
I
it?
also learned in Trek am Dienstag. They also try to get on those things and talk about it, think about it, and that's it's everything from that you not think is in Star Trek is also in Star Trek.
Okay.
So, for example, you have, do you knew second season, the god of Apoll or something like this, where they come on a planet where some ancient Greek Apoll thingy is ruling, and he say, "Oh, I am the god," and it has to do with religion, and you have to think about it. And at least he's some kind of faker, but
Yeah, I think I remember. It's been a long time since I watched the first, the original trilogy, the original series.
Yeah, but they think, okay, what if it is really a god, and it also I think what is Star Trek 5? They try to find the middle of the universe where they find God. Also it's they have a lot of religious concepts also, and also I think spiritual concepts on their show.
They find God.
Yeah, it's also a faker, but they find one.
It's also
It's Then I think Spock or even no, it's not Spock. I think it's Bones who was asking, why does God need a spaceship? He wants that spaceship. And he was asking, huh? Why does God need a spaceship? Yeah, and then that's the question, well, what you have to tell a God, because why does God need anything? And but it was a fake, like, yeah.
Yeah. But my favorite episode, I just remember, I think my favorite episodes of them all is that one where they're having a war. There's two civilizations, they're having a war, but they're not fighting. Everything is happening through a simulate, like through a computer.
Yeah.
And then I think the crew arrives, like Spock and Captain Kirk, and is like, what's this? What you guys are doing? Like, we are in a war zone right now. We're destroying each other. And then he was like, just looking at the computers. No, there's just lights flashing. You're like, you guys are not fighting. This is...
Yeah.
And I think somehow Captain Kirk convinces them to become friends and stop fighting, something like that. But I remember it blew my mind. Like, this civilization, those two civilizations, they reached a point where they're oh yeah, now I remember when they would kill like a certain number of people in the simulation, they will send those people. They would get those people executed in real life, and they would comply.
Yeah, they would do so because that are the rules. Yeah,
Fine.
And you have to do it for freedom. I make asterisks with my fingers when I say freedom. So for the listeners on podcatchers.
Oh man, I need to watch the original series again. It's incredible.
I really recommend a rewatch when it's when it's a rainy day or something like this on the weekend. Put on some episodes. It will be a great day.
Have you been going to the cinema recently?
Yes.
Yeah. What did you watch? Oppenheimer?
I watched Barbie.
Did you watch Oppenheimer? Oh, Barbenheimer? Did you?
I tried to watch both. I saw the story is a little bit sad. Me and my girlfriend, we always try to watch things together to talk about it. And I promised her we start with Barbie. But when we had tickets for Oppenheimer, she got sick. And so we had to give the cards back. And we postponed it to the next week, I would say. So we only watched Barbie yet. But and also I watched Indiana Jones 5.
Ooh, all right, okay. How was it? No
Barbie
spoilers.
Or Indiana Jones 5.
I heard Barbie is fun, but is it worth it?
I think it's worth it, but I'm not sure if it's your type of movie, honestly. So you can watch it. Watch it. I think it's worth watching. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was never done. Most people did not know what they should expect from a Barbie movie. Me either. But I was excited to, and also, I would like to see what they came up for a story. It's okay. It's for me it was a good movie. Yeah. It's a little bit. It's critical to that kind of man and woman in the world, where woman has maybe less power right now, or should have more power, and it's coming from that side. And they try. So all should be treated equal. Man and woman should be treated equal. But in the Barbie world, Barbie is the main part, and Ken is the one with less power. And in the real world, where they enter, it changed. Ken is becoming the more powerful, but the woman, Barbie, has, I would say, power. I think power is not the right word, but
influence. Influence, recognition.
Something like this. Yeah, I think these words will fit better. Then Ken saw that it's very good on the earth because he's a man. He could do things now, and then he went back to the Barbie world, and tries to influence the other Kens with his now new knowledge. Kind of that, and this it's the this kind of movie where they tackle this I would say problem of not equality of man and woman. I think it's worth watching. It's a good story. Yeah.
It's not for kids, right?
Kids can watch it, but they don't think that they will understand. I think you can watch it from 12 on. I don't know what age restriction the movie has, but if you are going there with a 6-year-old girl, for example, she will not be disappointing, but she will say, okay, I liked her dress and the colors were cool and the music. But if you really want to understand it, I think you have to be a little bit more mature.
Yeah, because they had like sex jokes in the trailer.
Yeah, they do, but I think kids' ears they don't get, they just miss it. They overhear it because they don't know what's meant.
Yeah. Go watch Oppenheimer, Dennis.
I will. I was very excited about this since I like Nolan movies, although beside Tenet, this was not that good. But I will buy cards and or tickets. I think next or the week after.
Yeah.
And also coming to Indiana Jones. I also have mixed feeling about that one, but I think it's also not a bad movie. If you must see it on the cinema, you can do, because it has a lot of action scenes. For me, the movie is too fast pace. I missed some kind of riddles, exploration, and showing scenes where they come to different cities, and I would like to that they calm a little bit down the speed, and that they try to focus a little bit more on the places they visit. And that's what they not do. They visit, or they came on some place. There is a small search, I would say. They search for something, they found it, and then they brawl with some guys, and then they go to the next place. And it could be better. I think it could be better. It has its moments, but it could be better.
So the pacing's kind of off.
For me, the pacing is odd. Yeah, for me it's too fast, and I like it. But also, I rewatched the other Indiana Jones, and I also think that the pacing is from time to time it's too fast. So for me, the best part is the third. But some people, and I also from the guys from Tech am Dienstag, they had a different podcast where they revisit all Indiana Jones parts and movies, and they find that the second one is the best because it's so weird and they do so much stuff and this. But flavor, or the feelings are different, the people are different, and they like different things. So it's pretty fine. Yeah.
And we don't talk about the fourth one, of course. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. For me, the first, I also tried to rewatch it, and until it shifts to this spacey thing, it's not that bad movie. So it's the first, I think, half an hour, and also the introduction of how is the actor's name, the young one?
Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf. Yeah, I think the introduction it's not that bad. But then when it comes to that thing from space, then I'm out. And I like space, but not in this kind of not in this Indiana Jones world. Yeah,
It didn't make any sense, in my opinion. It felt like a completely different movie.
Yeah,
the space thing. Yeah, I watched the making of from episode 4. Episode 4, like It's not episode 4.
It's
Movie 4? Yeah,
the fourth
the
movie, yeah,
fourth
something like this.
movie.
Yeah.
And the thing is, George Lucas was involved in the process of the making the movie, and during the whole production, like the making of, you could see like George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, they were like both like clashing. They were like, George Lucas was the whole time, no, we need to include aliens and this whole mythology behind where they come from space and this Christmas and the whole movie, the whole making of, you could see like Steven Spielberg like just saying,
Yeah.
I don't want to do it, but yeah, okay, whatever. Like they're like they're just trying to make it work, and
Yeah.
it didn't. So
Yeah. They maybe try something new or to bring something new to the franchise, but and also with maybe plans for the future when they can say, okay, now we have aliens, we can do more fantasy things. But I think that was not, and it also, I think it was not the right decision on that franchise. It should be something from Earth. It can be. Some old story, some invention from the past, discover it, that would be fine for me. Or some legend, just discovering some legend or doing some, how is it called? Some myth busting thingy on it. And it would be better than having the aliens involved.
I totally agree. How old is Harrison Ford right now? Because he's not getting any younger. If you want to have a good Indiana Jones movie, he better do another one fast.
I think it was the last one. For the fifth is the last one from him. He's over 80 right now. And he de-aged him in some scenes.
Okay.
You knew it?
I think I heard about it, yeah.
Yeah.
Does it work in the movie?
Yeah, somehow. I think it's de-aging is it has the good, and it has some good parts and has some bad parts. The bad part, I would say, it can, when it's not good, you recognize it very fast. So there's this uncanny valley, which when you have some kind of artificial faces, for example, and something is not fitting really, really correctly, or it's very, very, very near into perfection. The parts which are not perfect are going right into your eye, and this is this uncanny valley, which, oh no, this the lighting in the mouse, for example, does not fit, which is very very hard to achieve, to make it real. Then the scene look a little bit off, I would say, but it's okay. And but the good thing is, I like to see the old guys again. So even when somebody would now tell me, we make a Star Trek episode from the original series and we're just doing the faces by AI, if it would good, I would like it. So, and if the story is good and if it will fit, I would like to try it out. Yeah. To see these old people, maybe, which are not living anymore, to be back on the stage, even for cameo, something like this in a movie.
If it doesn't look weird, yeah.
Yeah, they did it in Star Wars. Some people are complaining about it and say, okay, I don't like this. But I think it was not good enough, and maybe it was too early to achieve something like this. When you go to YouTube, you find some correction with AI where they corrected the faces and it looked way better than it was in the cinema. And they corrected it at home, I would say, with some neuronal networks. And it worked out better than the official production. So if they work on that, why not?
They hired the guy. Did you know that?
They hired him. Okay.
So
Yeah, they better should.
so after Rogue One came out, there was this guy on YouTube. He was making like the corrections that you mentioned.
Yeah.
And he tried to correct Rogue One, like the Princess Leia scene, the Grand Moff Tarkin scene. You know who I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that caught the eyes from Lucas films, and they hired him for the Mandalorian series. So the scenes where you see Luke Skywalker and the Mandalorian scenes is actually the YouTuber, the guy who fixed it.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. Cool. Good to know. I didn't know that. Yeah.
But
Good story.
I agree. Like they look a little bit. They used to look a little bit odd in the Rogue One. I watched Rogue One with my mom,
Yeah.
and she didn't know like who the actors were, like what was CGI or it wasn't. But when the movie ended, he was like, "This old dude, he looked so weird. I don't know what it was, but he looked."
Yeah.
And then I told her like, "It is CGI. It's not real."
It's
And then
CGI,
she was like,
yeah.
okay, it makes
Yeah.
sense." So
Yeah.
yeah.
But even I think if it would be a good movie, it would not bother me. So have you seen The Irishman on Netflix, for example? It's called The Irishman.
It's too long, Dennis.
Yeah.
It's too long.
Yeah, I think more than 3 hours, I think. But for me, so I like the movie very much. And there, if the movie is good enough, the de-aging was, for me, it was quite fine. It did not look perfect, but I was not picky in that kind because I got the story, I liked the guys, I liked the acting, I liked what they try to present. So, that's a thing. I think it's hard to achieve where you can where you have normally you have to change the actor to a younger one and have to design it like the old one when you have the flashback, something like this. But with de-aging, I think it's okay. For me, it's okay. And if it's a good movie, I will not be picky on, okay, that CG looks like that and that and that. If it's a good movie, it would not bother me.
Yeah, I think that's the opposite of Marvel is doing. A lot of Marvel movies, they have good CGI nowadays.
Yeah.
But not all of them, but a lot of them have good CGI. But the script and the story is just so lame. It's horrible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's also getting a little bit worse. I'm not into that universe so much since I find it a little bit annoying. I'm a guy who needs to complete things. And when I watch the new movie, I must have watched the old movies before, or even, and if you are in this cinematic universe from Marvel, you have to watch everything to get every joke. And I got lost after, I think, Endgame or something like this, because I don't like the, how was it called? The show from Vision, irgendwas?
WandaVision?
WandaVision, yeah.
WandaVision,
They lost me on that. But then, maybe I get, and I need to rewatch, or not to rewatch, I need to caught up a little to watch the new movies. But what I heard from was that, it's starting to be repetitive and also starting to be a little bit more awkward during to the multi-universe. But beside multi-universe, do you watch the new Spider-Man, the comic one?
Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is cool.
Or is it this one? I think there was also in the cinemas for a few months ago.
Across the Spider-Verse.
Across the Spider-Verse,
Yeah.
And I also think that they made a really cool film. It was so crazy, but I somehow liked it since I normally into this karma movies a little bit more, but this one and also the art style so mixed up and so crazy, and this was really fresh, felt fresh.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also enjoyed it a lot. Did you know they have 2 versions of the movie?
No.
Yeah. So they have version A and version B because they played with this whole multiverse thing, right? So depending on the movie that you watch, like the scenes are different.
And how can I watch the other one?
You,
Well, I was in the cinema. I watched just one movie.
yeah, some people watched a different one, like not at the same time, of course, but they
Yeah.
came back another day and it was a different movie, but not in a meaningful way, like
Okay.
just some jokes and some action.
Really?
Yeah,
Never heard about this.
yeah,
Oh, crazy. That would be really crazy. I believe you, but that's a really crazy idea. Like an A/B test, for example, where you play out this or play out this, but not for a test, but for for art decision or for giving this a little bit more substantial meaning, I would say. It's a multiverse. So in this universe, it's a crazy idea. I like this. It could be also possible when you have some kind of streaming where someone sees this episode, someone sees this episode. Could also be a good one, but you have to create things twice, and I think that's not cheap.
not with AI.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Have you seen Black Mirror?
A few episodes of it, but
Okay.
not everything.
So there is a new season, and the first episode of the new season, I think the first or second episode of the new season is all about that. So they create this Netflix where the shows are tailored. How do you say that? Tailored
Yeah,
made
tailor-made. Yeah.
for you with AI. So it's
Oh.
just for you, and it's somehow related to your life, and all the actors in the series, they are not real, like they're CGI, but they look completely real. So they are in this universe, in this show, they hire actors that really exist. They make them sign like contracts, allowing them to loan their image to Netflix, to this streaming service. So you could have like Harrison Ford playing in your, but it's not Harrison Ford. It's just a image of Harrison Ford, and he's interacting with you, in the show. And they do a different show for every single person.
Okay, cool. And the viewer takes part in the show, or is it just watching it because it's tailor-made for me? So is it do I have would say 3D glasses which I'm in the show, or is it just that I am watching it?
So you're not like Dennis. You're not part of the show, but
Okay.
in this episode, in this universe, the actors, they are part of the show. I'm not sure if I did a good job explaining. Something like that, but
Okay.
but they just like present this reality that we're gonna be living. I think we're gonna be living in the future. I think at some point this is gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary. Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary but interesting or exciting. Yeah.
Dennis, I have one last question for you.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about aliens earlier, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen what's happened in the US recently with the UFO congressional hearing?
Yeah.
Have you heard about it?
I've heard about it. I saw it, and it somehow when I heard about it and I started to click on YouTube, I fell in a rabbit hole which was very deep, and which I liked somehow. I liked the idea of this guy. I like but for me it's more an entertaining one and a little bit of it's like you can think about what if it was true, what he says, and this kind of mind games make me some kind of exercise interesting and interested and excited. So I think what's your main question about it? I watched it and I already told a little bit about it, Bam.
Yeah, my main question is what do you think about it? Because those guys, they how do you say, they swore under oath, which means if anyone find out that they're lying, they all go to prison, and those are like ex-military veterans that have no reason to lie, So,
Yeah.
what do you make out of it?
It's for me it's interesting. I'm just saying, get my popcorn and watch it, and I somehow hope that they are right, but the scientist in me would say, I don't think that they are right. The child or the heart would like that they would be right, but I don't think so. I think they're making something up. I don't know why. As they spend so much energy, they have so much, they spending their lives on it to be on public doing that shit. And also, there's a huge party together, which I think that the people behind him was on his side or believe him, and also some senators believe him right now and say, okay, we must see the proofs and give us the advices. But I always would say, when someone is saying, okay, that's all we have, and then they would come and would say, that's not that what I saw. I saw you must have more of this. And that's why I think they cannot prove this guy, because if he made something up and you don't have it, you can't show it. And if you can't show it, he would always say, oh, they don't show everything. There is some in this kind of Area 51. There is some cellar left where they have this part of the UFO, and the bodies are there. They are not showing us the whole thing, but they just say, we don't have it. We cannot show it to you. But and then you cannot say, you cannot unprove him somehow, and that's why I think it's made up. Yeah. And I wish there is some truth in it, because I like it would be a big thing, and I like those big things somehow. It would be very entertaining for me. I'm not getting the whole thing of when it was when it were true, but maybe I saw it also in one interview where some guy of his party said, okay, if it was true, or if they say it's true, maybe when they tell us that we are not the only one in the universe, and they show us here are the bodies of these kind of people, we may stick a little bit more together as humans. And they say, okay, now it's not the difference between your religion, if you're black, if you're white, if you're a boy, if you're a girl, if you're something. Then they would say, okay, and now it's between us, we are all human, and them. So we could be a little bit more connected together on the earth, and there would be more, maybe freedom on earth, peace on earth, when you say, okay, we are all equal, but they are not. You have a different kind of, they are different, but we are all one. And maybe that would bring us a little bit closer together. I like that kind of feeling. But when I go back to Star Trek, I think then we need to go over that. And if you have something on your crew, there's also not interesting if it's a boy, if it's a girl, if it's black, if it's one, and even if it's Klingon or Vulcan.
Yeah.
You have everything can be your colleague at work, I would say. Yeah. And that will bring us a little bit more together, and maybe have a little bit more peace on us.
I agree, and that's why they should show us the bodies. We
Yeah.
need to see the bodies.
We need to see the bodies, yeah. Show us the bodies, man.
We're waiting.
We're waiting for the bodies.
All right. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I can't wait to. I believe it. I think it's real, because I think the universe is too big for us to be the only ones.
Yeah.
And but I we need to see the bodies, man.
We need to see the bodies, yeah. Of course.
Yeah. Dennis, do you have any piece of advice for any aspiring young programmers, or anyone who'd like to enter the game industry or start programming for creating their own apps, anything like this?
Yeah, I can start. Just try it. Try to. I see the numbers. How many people are applying to some kind of university for different how is it called? Different studies, different courses. But I think we need more in the programming, video, computer science area. So don't be afraid of it. Just try it out. It's a little bit of math, but in the end, it's even if you're also we need more girls in the industry. I would say don't be shy. Try it out. It makes a lot of fun. We need you, and just for me it was the same when I started in the university or started programming. It was hard, so I didn't get anything. And also when I started my job, I was so lost. I come from university. You think that you know things, but you don't know things. But you have enough time. Your life has enough time to be a good professional, and if you are enthusiastic on it, it will work out in the end. Um, don't be afraid of not getting this shit. It's not as complicated as it looks. Even when my girlfriend looks at my screen and say, okay, you're doing that one every day, every hour, and I say, yeah, it's my normal work, and it looks scary, but don't be afraid. It just looks like this. It's a lot of fun, and it's really a great feeling when when I started university and had my first programming lessons to do, and there was a test which we had to do at home, and I tried to achieve this kind of thing. Also with a not pleasing language called C, which is not so polite to you, and I tried to program that, and I programmed the whole night, and finally I did it. And that feeling when you just see the compiler works and everything you enter works out as you expected, and you did this on your own, that's your first achievement to you, would say, okay, I can get this when I spend enough energy, enough time, and this feeling, I think this keeps me up all day going to work and solving things, because when you solve it, you feel like a superhero every time. And this we have also this things where it feels not like a superhero, it feels like a dumb ass, but most of the time when you did something, it felt very good, and this comes addicting, I think, for me. When you see, okay, this feature works out, I present it, even if it's a game or if it's something not with UI, or even if it's in an application. I see, okay, I can do something with a computer, and I can do something for the people, help them, or enjoy them somehow, and just try it out, and be a little bit patient with yourself, but don't stop doing it.
All right, so don't stop doing it. Don't be afraid. Keep doing it, and don't be afraid of that shit.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. Thank you for the
Yeah.
inspiring words. I'm sure a lot
thank
of people will hear it, and
Hopefully.
yeah, of course. All right, Dennis. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, was a pleasure. All right, guys. All right, everyone. Be sure to subscribe to DJMilch on SoundCloud.
Yes, or even listening. I will look up to the numbers. If they are raising, I would be very happy. Yeah.
Of course. All right. Thanks very much, Dennis, and see you next time, everyone.
Yeah. See you, Bruno.